Police in Normal, after taking statements from 11 people who were at the scene, have a description of the man they say committed the shooting.
A 21-year-old ISU senior is hospitalized tonight. Jason Colby was shot just after midnight following a fight in his apartment building at 200 West Mulberry. Colby's upstairs neighbor, Mike Trask, says he saw a large gathering of people, and then the first shot went off.
A couple guys were getting in fights, and then there was a gun pulled out, and I saw one shot go off, and I heard several more after I took off and went.
Police released this sketch of the man they believe pulled the trigger. He is said to be a 6-foot, 1-inch black man weighing between 165 and 175 pounds. Now, the grounds at 200 West Mulberry were sealed off for most of the day as officers searched for evidence. It should be noted that authorities do not believe the suspect is an ISU student.
A jury in southern Indiana is recommending a Cicero man be executed for shooting and killing his 10-year-old son last year. The 48-year-old father admits he shot his son as the boy slept in the back of his vehicle. He says he did it because he did not want his son to live a life of misery because he had nothing to offer. The jury deliberated more than 8 hours yesterday and was back today to hear evidence on a final charge. A conviction would add 30 years to a prison term. Bloomington police are still investigating the sexual assault of a 12-year-old boy. Police say the boy was attacked on North Robinson Street while walking home from Bloomington Junior High around 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. No suspects have been identified.
And the legal dispute over an oil spill by an Amoco super tanker off the coast of France is over, according to officials, and the Chicago-based company will be forking over $200 million in damages to the French government. Amoco Corporation in Chicago has apparently decided not to appeal the judgment. They have until midnight Eastern time tonight to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Amoco Cadiz spilled 58 million gallons of oil over the coast of Brittany over the past 10 years.
A spokesperson for Diamond Star Motors says the company will begin installing Chrysler Corporation engines and transmissions into Chrysler and Mitsubishi cars later this year. Diamond Star's public relations manager Robin Skiles says they are not releasing information on which cars will go into, but will launch a program that will start the Galant automobiles. Skiles declined to confirm that the company expects to buy more than $1.2 billion worth of engines and transmissions.
And another year, and it's prom and graduation time again for high school students. This year, student educators are stressing staying safe as well as having fun. And TV correspondent Tracy Madden joins us now with a local plan to ensure a memorable prom night. Tracy.
Matt, the message from Mothers Against Drunk Driving is simple. Drinking and driving can kill. MAD State Director George Murphy says this is especially a concern during graduation when alcohol consumption increases among high schoolers.
Prom time is much like the holidays that we encounter during the Christmas and New Year's and even November, when the alcohol-related crashes increase considerable. And I compare that with the alcohol-related crashes that increased during post-prom and post-graduation.
Because of this, MAD, Student Alternatives to Drinking and Drugs, and Bloomington High School are joining together to make prom safe and fun. Operation Prom Graduation hopes to increase safety and awareness. SAD member Kristen McLean says it's a message all students need to hear.
I am offering a challenge for all students attending prom and or graduation to make the commitment not to drink during the upcoming celebrations. Remember the MAD theme, it's your time to shine, bright stars, party sober. Let's keep these events safe and sober. Thank you.
Matt, by increasing publicity, rewarding responsible behavior, and offering incentives through local businesses such as McDonald's, Operation Prom Graduation hopes to be a success.
Okay, Tracy, what kind of programs do they offer, MAD?
Some of the programs that are offered, one of them is through McDonald's, and it's a program to keep those students from drinking alcohol, so there's free refills on beverages. Basically what it is, however, is a promotion, just basically getting that awareness out there not to drink and drive.
Okay, it sounds like it's a good idea. How do the students react to these types of things?
Pretty surprisingly, the experience and the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Students seem to realize, whether it's through statistics or maybe personally being touched through DUIs or even deaths, that they really should not be drinking and driving.
Okay, we know drinking and driving is not just a seasonal type of event. Is this a year-round program that they offer?
Both SAT and MAD are year-round programs. They've been having seminars and different activities like lock-ins to promote that awareness. Again, they seem to think that that's the key.
All right, sounds good, Trace.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
If you're against Governor Edgar's plan to increase state taxes on alcohol and you want to express your opinion, you may be able to do it without even writing a letter, or in this case, dialing the telephone. Miller Brewing Company is campaigning to fight the proposal, and it works like this. First, a call is made to a voter to see if they oppose the increase. If the answer is yes, the call is transferred to a line where a recommended... Oh, no. The call is transferred to a line where a recorded message is played that criticizes the governor's plan. Then the call is connected directly to the office of the voter's senator or representative in Springfield. The voter can have their say. Miller officials say 2 toll-free numbers will be passed out on flyers around the state. Coming up next, the United Way of McLean County is celebrating a grand opening today. We'll tell you why.
And is the death penalty cruel and unusual? Local residents speak out. Stay with us. That's next.
Hey, this is Bob. Thanks for the memories, Hope. You know, I've been lucky. I've had a great life, family, career, lots of friends, wonderful memories. You know, it's frightening to think that many people don't have memories. Actually, 5% of our population have problems with their memory, and this is not normal. People used to think that growing old meant getting senile. We know now that this is not true. Excessive forgetfulness and confusion may be the first early signs of Alzheimer's disease. So it's important to see a doctor and get a diagnosis. You know, sometimes these same symptoms are not Alzheimer's disease and can be treated. Right now, there's no cure for Alzheimer's disease, but with an early diagnosis and a program of community, family, and drug support, one can function in the community for years. Old doesn't mean sick. It's a time to remember.
For information, write the Gerontological Society of America, Washington, D.C. 20005. Brought to you as a public service by Sandoz Pharmaceuticals Corporation.
Lean economic times are making events like job fairs more and more popular. Today, the largest job fair in central Illinois was held in Bloomington. TV10's Hillary Black was there and files this report.
These people are looking for jobs. Hundreds of people have turned out for the day's events, even here in McLean County, which has the lowest unemployment rate in the state.
But it doesn't make any difference if it's 5% or 2%. There's still unemployed people out there that need work.
But this job fair isn't just for people out of work.
Right now I'm self-employed, but I am looking to establish either my own business in the accounting, services field, or tax services.
However, most of the people here are unemployed, namely soon-to-be college graduates. And slim job prospects have many of them considering alternative careers.
Talked to quite a few people, quite a few different companies, things that I might not have thought of as alternatives before.
But the good news for these job seekers is most of the 65 companies have or will have job openings in the future. Reporting for TV10 News, I'm Hillary Black.
An update on Chicago flooding. Chicago subway travelers could be back on track sooner than they thought. The Chicago Transit Authority says they are ready to begin running test trains through the downtown subway system. A CTA official says empty trains will run through the tunnels for several days to make sure the system is safe for passengers. The CTA director says 75 gallons of water per minute continues to seep into the tunnels under the State and Dearborn streets. Meanwhile, engineers move pumps to deeper areas of the system to speed up the process. And utility and communication companies say they will fight any move to close old freight tunnels after they are drained. Commonwealth Edison says it could cost the company more than $100 million to relocate the cables that are currently in the tunnel. Mayor Richard Daley's press secretary says the mayor will put together a team of city officials and engineers to discuss the future of the tunnel system.
And the California execution of double murderer Robert Alton Harris Tuesday sparked a nationwide debate concerning the morality of capital punishment. In this week's edition of Twin Talks, TV10 hit the streets to ask local residents if they think the death penalty is too cruel a punishment, and here's what they had to say.
No, I don't believe the death penalty is too cruel. I believe that if someone takes someone else's life, that they deserve what's coming to them, and the death penalty is the only fair way.
Really, the questions need to be asked to the people that do commit the murder and ask the victims whether it's cruel and inhumane. you're never certain that this person's guilty, and it's something that you can't take back. Plus, there's no evidence that it's really as much of a deterrent as any of the other possible penalties.
I think the death penalty works, basically, so I'm all for it.
I agree with the death penalty because anyone who has been sentenced to the death penalty has violated someone else's rights to life and deserves to die.
In many cases, the ends justify the means. I mean, if you take somebody like, say, Dahmer, who goes out and he's got these guys' body parts packed up and everything, I think that perhaps, yeah, he deserves something like that.
The United Way of McLean County has its grand opening for their new volunteer center today. TV10's Toby Carson has more.
The opening of the new volunteer center began with a ribbon-cutting ceremony with Mayor Josie Smart, followed by an open house and a tour of the new office. The United Way of McLean County submitted a bid for a grant sponsored by Points of Light Foundation to start up a volunteer center last fall and received word in January they were one of 10 recipients nationwide to receive the grant. Lori Dekoff, director of the Volunteer Center, explains what the center will do.
Well, this is the United Way Volunteer Center. It's a volunteer center that will be serving volunteers throughout McLean County. We'll be serving as a clearinghouse for volunteers. We'll have computerized database with volunteers and people who need volunteers, so that if you wanted to volunteer, you could call up our office and hopefully we'd find an opportunity for you to serve the community.
If your group needs volunteers, or if you would just like to volunteer your time, you can contact the United Way. Reporting for TV10 News, I'm Toby Carson.
And students at Bloomington St. Clair Grade School celebrated Arbor Day by planting a tree today. The Bloomington Citizens Beautification Committee donated a red maple to the school, and the children got to participate in planting it in the ground. Mayor Jesse Smart presented school principal Ed Heidman with this year's Tree City USA flag. Mayor Smart told the children of the importance of trees in the environment.
Trees are very, very important to our environment, and we're losing a lot of our trees, so that's why it's so important that we keep planting more. So that's what we've done here.
Also got tree seedlings to take home with them as a reminder of the meaning of Arbor Day. And Steve Huska joins us. And I know there are a couple big car washes this weekend going on, Steve. Can we have some decent weather for those?
Well, actually, I think it might cooperate. There's going to be a couple sprinkles out there, but I don't think it's anything to prevent anybody from washing their car. I'll be back with more details on that right after this.
7,000 babies will die this year, victims of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. Researchers are struggling to find the reasons for this leading killer of children between the ages of 1 week and 1 year. Research is moving slowly, and our babies are dying. We need your help. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Please call 1-800-221-SIDS, because every baby deserves to see the morning light.
No matter who wins the game, you get a great prize from tennis. A stronger heart, healthier lungs, greater endurance. If you don't get regular exercise, get your doctor's okay and get moving. At least 20 minutes, 3 times a week. And make it fun. Swim, jog, take brisk walks, play tennis. The right exercise can help you get the most out of life. This message for good health is from the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
Good evening. Well, today was dreary to say the least, and I wish I could tell you tomorrow would be better, but I'll have a little bit more on that later. Let's look at today's statistics. The high for today was 51 with an overnight low of 43. It's currently 48 with winds out of the northwest at 10 to 12 miles per hour. The barometer is 29.68 and rising. We were unable to get the humidity results today, and, well, Bloomington Normal got drenched last night as 2/10 of precipitation fell in our area. Let's go now to the national map. Scanning in lower 48 here, you'll see the western 2/3 are pretty much calm today, but there is a batch of precipitation extending back from the Atlantic into our area. Now, this is going to drop a little bit more of the wet stuff on us before it moves out east, but it shouldn't be anything major. Along the leading edge of this low-pressure front here, there's some stronger storm cells, and a little bit of storm damage was reported in parts of eastern Pennsylvania last night. Nothing big, a few trees blown down, some power outages. Nobody was hurt, though. Rainfall totals for the eastern Great Lakes and Ohio Valley range anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, so they are getting some good rain from that. Now, coming down out of the north, there's a couple of fast-moving cold fronts that are coming through North Dakota and the northern Great Lakes states. Let me correct that. There's going to be some near winter temperatures there and some snow. Now, we won't see too much of that, but we'll be a little bit colder. Meanwhile, out west today, lots and lots of high pressure. They cleared things off there, heated it up a little bit. Look for the first 90-degree to 100-degree readings to happen in the southwest here over the next couple of days. On the west coast, they're getting ready for some more storms to come in. There's storms out over the ocean right now, and they're bringing with them some very high winds. High wind warnings in Washington from Seattle all the way north through the rest of the state. That's it for the conditions around the nation. Let's look at some of the temperatures. New York had 71 today. Charlotte was nice at 82. And Miami had a beautiful 78 degrees. Chicago, a little cold at 56. And St. Louis makes me jealous. It had 84. Rapid City was cold today with 53. Denver had 60. And way out on the west coast, Seattle had 61. San Francisco 79. And Los Angeles had a, boy, I want to be there, 85. Well, that's all for our national map. Now on to our computerized precipitation maps. Light to moderate describes the precipitation totals throughout the eastern Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. Possibly strong cells of thunderstorms are moving through the southeast and New England areas. Some high winds and light flooding are associated with the low-pressure system moving towards the Atlantic Ocean. Little or no precipitation was reported throughout Illinois last night, expect more of the same until about Monday, when high pressure takes over and clears us off. No rain is in sight for this weekend throughout the western plains. On the Pacific coast, some offshore storms prepare to move inland as high wind warnings are posted for most of Washington and the higher elevations in California. Going now to our traveler's map, you'll notice some slightly colder temperatures in response to the cold front moving through Michigan. The cooling will last for only about a day as warming trends will begin about midday on Sunday. Clouds will still be around this weekend with some clearing around the first part of next week. On the plus side, though, showers will be ending tonight with only a slight chance for tomorrow. If you decide to get away this weekend, head south as St. Louis will be our warm spot at 55. We'll reach 46, and Chicago, the Windy City, will top out around 44. Milwaukee feels the cold with only 42. Des Moines gets a 48, and Indianapolis comes a close second with 47. Well, that's all for our traveler's map. Let's take a look at the forecast. Tonight calls for the wind to pick up. Wind will be out of the north at about 25 miles per hour. Things will get a bit chilly with a low near 35, and we have a 75% chance of rain or drizzle. Don't put away your blankets yet, folks. Tomorrow, well, it looks like a carbon copy of today. It'll be cloudy, windy, and colder. Winds will be out of the north, gusting at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Our high will be near 46, and look for a low of around 35.
So for graduation, are we going to need a winter suit instead of a spring or summer suit, Steve?
Well, it's looking that way, man.
All righty, thank you.
You're welcome.
On Wall Street today, the stock market fell today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 24 points on heavy trade of 199 million shares. Decliners edged gainers 9 to 8. Local stocks were mostly lower. Illinois Power gained an eighth. Nicor jumped 3/8. Local stocks are courtesy of our good friends over at Shearson Lehman Hutton of Bloomington. And on the Chicago Board of Trade, July corn closed down 2 1/4. July beans also finished lower at 5.81. And that's all for market news. Josie is back with news from ISU.
After 10 years, ISU is close.
Coming up tonight on TV10 News, police, the public, and the media are all pointing fingers in the aftermath of Tuesday's suicide at Southgate Estates mobile homes. Illinois Senator Carol Mosley Braun has another incident with Jesse Helms, and we'll have more live action from the McLean County Fair. All that plus weather and sports is next, tonight on TV10 News.
From the campus of Illinois State University, it's the Twin Cities' only local television news service, TV10 News at 6.